I overheard my daughter's call, so I sold the house for $890,000. My girl forgot to hang up her phone. Clear as day I heard, "It's time to park him in a nursing home. He's a burden." I didn't argue or shout. I just sat there while something inside me cracked like old plaster. I sold the house for $890,000. When they rolled back in from their business trip, all smiles, a little surprise was waiting. Their keys didn't turn. There was a note on the stoop. They read it, started screaming, and that's when I knew they wouldn't let it go quietly. That moment was only the prologue. Before I carry on, do the usual, tap subscribe, and drop where you're listening from down in the comments. The phone rang just as I was scraping the last bit of meatloaf off my plate. Linda's meatloaf, her recipe. Mine never tastes right without her hands on it. I glanced at the caller ID and, against my better judgment, smiled. "Ashley." "Dad, how are you holding up?" she asked, her voice wrapped in that practiced warmth that squeezes my chest with love and a little loneliness. I sank into Linda's old recliner, the leather polished smooth by years of her evening reading. "Oh, you know me, kiddo. Just finished dinner and was about to put on the news." I did not add that it was day 3 leftovers, or that I'd been staring at Linda's photo on the mantel for almost an hour. "Are you eating enough? Remember, you can order groceries online now. I showed you the app." "I'm eating fine," I cut in gently. "Had a little scare yesterday, though. Forgot to turn off the burner under my coffee pot. Good thing I smelled it from the living room before it got ugly." Silence stretched. I could picture her frown, the one she got from her mother, tiny crease right between the eyes. "Dad, maybe it's time we talk about someone checking in more regularly." Brandon thinks. "I'm good, Ash. Really." I pivoted. "How's that business trip? You're in Phoenix, right?" "Yeah. Conference wraps tomorrow." Brandon's doing the client meetings while I sit through a parade of digital marketing talks. She tried to laugh. It came out stiff. "Listen, Dad, I should run. Brandon and I have dinner with potential investors." "Of course, sweetheart. I love you." "Love you too, Dad. Take care, okay?" Click. Then a rush of purse noises. She dropped the phone in her bag. I figured, reaching to hang up, until voices bled through, muffled but clear enough. "Brandon, you hear how he's slipping? Ashley, no more syrup, just steel. He left the stove on. What if he burns the place down?" My hand froze on the receiver. A cold bloom spread in my chest. "It's time for a nursing home, Ash." Brandon, flat as a ledger. "He's becoming a burden, and you know it. He's a good man, but he can't live alone." "The house is pushing $1 million, Ashley said. "All calculation now. In Denver's market, we could probably get 900 grand, maybe more." "Exactly." Brandon sounded satisfied. "We sell, put him somewhere decent, not expensive, and finally buy that place in Boulder with the mountain view." My daughter laughed. Actually laughed. "God, Brandon, you should have seen him tonight. So grateful to hear from me. He has no idea. The longer we wait, the more confused he'll get," Brandon added. "We strike while he still trusts us completely." The phone slipped out of my hand, clattered onto the hardwood Linda and I laid 23 years ago. Every plank by my hands, every nail for our future. The house went quiet around me. I stared at Linda's photograph. Her eyes felt like they were searching mine. Disappointment? Warning? Or just the knowledge people carry when they've already crossed over? The grandfather clock in the hall, Linda's anniversary gift 15 years back, kept ticking into the dusk. Outside, the first spring crickets tuned up in the garden she planted, and I still tended. Something cold and solid settled where the warmth from Ashley's voice had been a minute earlier. My hands, wrecked by decades of construction, curled into fists. They thought I was a burden. Thought I was confused, helpless, ready to be filed away and forgotten. They were already spending my money, already designing their new life on the bones of mine. But I wasn't dead, and I wasn't half as foggy as they figured. I don't know how long I sat there with Linda's face watching me from the silver frame. The house felt different, like the walls had heard my daughter's betrayal and were holding their breath. When I finally stood to flip on the lamp, my legs were unsteady. Warm light spilled across a living room we'd built one careful purchase at a time. The burgundy sofa where Ashley used to sprawl with homework, the coffee table I'd made in the garage while she played at my feet. In the kitchen, I opened the drawer with the old receipts. My fingers found the thick folder without looking. 2 decades of paperwork Linda insisted we keep. "You never know when you'll need it," she'd say. University of Colorado tuition, $48,000 across 4 years. I remembered the double shifts, stumbling home with concrete dust in my hair, plaster under my nails. Linda would hand me coffee and rub my shoulders while I paid bills at this very table. "Ray, you're working yourself into the ground," she'd murmured one night, watching me juggle numbers for Ashley's spring semester. "She deserves better than we had, Lynn. She's got the brains to go anywhere." Linda kissed the top of my head. "Just don't give so much she forgets gratitude." I should have heard her. God, I should have listened. The wedding receipts were there too, $32,000 for one afternoon. I told Ashley we could swing 5, maybe 8 if we stretched. She cried about her dream wedding, so I worked weekends 6 months straight, laying hardwood for a buddy who paid cash. "Daddy, you're the best father in the world," she'd whispered during our dance. I'll never forget this. But she had. She forgot who co-signed her first car when her credit stank. She forgot who made calls to land her that marketing job after 8 jobless months. I dug out bank statements from 2 years back after Brandon got canned from that financial advisor gig. Reasons always complicated. They moved in temporarily until he landed something else. I never charged rent. I picked up the bigger utility bills and stocked a fridge for 3 instead of 1 lonely widower. Brandon would clap my shoulder and call me the most generous man in Colorado. Ashley would hug me and promise, "We'll pay you back once we're on our feet." They'd been standing tall over a year, both with good jobs, both making more than I ever did. They never mentioned moving out, never mentioned paying me a dime. The anniversary dinner I covered last month, $200 at that fancy downtown steakhouse because Brandon said they deserved to celebrate. The $3,000 I threw at the transmission for his BMW, draining my emergency fund dry. "Ray's like a father to me," he told his friends at the last barbecue, arm around my shoulders. "Luckiest guy in the world to marry into this family." I'd actually felt proud to be the generous father-in-law who always came through. Upstairs, our bedroom waited like a museum. Linda's jewelry box rested on the dresser, her reading glasses folded beside the lamp. In the bottom drawer where I kept the big stuff sat our original deed, Raymond and Linda Carter, purchased 1999. No liens, no cosigners, no complications. Now just my name since Linda passed. Standing in the room where she spent her last days, where every corner holds a memory, something inside me shifted. The hurt stayed, sharp as a shard. Under it, something tougher set like cured concrete. They wanted to stash me away and sell my life's work. They figured I was too old, too confused, too grateful to fight. I looked at Linda's photo and heard her old warning again. Don't give so much she forgets to be grateful. Well, Lynn, she forgot. But she was about to remember her old man knows how to swing a hammer, figuratively and otherwise. In my home office, I pulled a card from the desk drawer I'd left undisturbed for 3 years. Mark Sullivan, real estate attorney. Linda had made us see him after her diagnosis, just to get our affairs straight. Time for another chat. The next morning, I walked my house like a stranger with a clipboard. I tried to see what Ashley and Brandon saw. Square footage, comps, quick cash. In the kitchen, I ran my hand along the granite I'd installed by lamplight, because we couldn't afford a crew. Linda picked it, speckled gray with gold veins that sparkle in the morning. She brewed coffee there every day for 16 years, until cancer stole her strength. Right there, 3-year-old Ashley took her first wobbly steps, from fridge to Linda's open arms. We cried. Linda scooped her up, spun her around, while I scrambled for the camera. "Our baby's walking in our house," she whispered. "In the house we built for her. The living room has 25 Christmases baked into its walls." I can still see 7-year-old Ashley's face when she found the dollhouse I built over 3 secret months in the garage. Linda sewed tiny curtains, crafted furniture from cardboard and scraps. "Daddy, it's just like our house," she squealed. It was. I'd copied even the little bay window of her bedroom. That window cost me 6 months of overtime. Linda saw it in a magazine and fell in love with the idea of reading there in the afternoons. I taught myself new cuts, measured and remeasured, knees aching from crawling around that frame. "Ray, we can't afford this," she worried when she caught me marking the wall. "You want it, you'll have it," I told her. "I'll make it work." I climbed to Ashley's old room, still painted the soft yellow she chose for her 16th birthday, still scattered with photos of high school friends and college grins. This was where I rocked her through colicky nights, where Linda and I tag-teamed algebra at the white desk I built to slide perfectly beneath the window. Our master was the hardest. Linda's side still held her water glass, her bookmark stranded at page 247 of the novel she never finished. I built those walk-in closets for her exact height. Her clothes still hung there, faintly perfumed. This was the room where we planned the future, where we whispered dreams for Ashley, where Linda died with my hand in hers while machines clicked. "Promise me they won't take advantage," she breathed near the end. "You're too good, Ray. Promise you'll take care of yourself." I'd promised. Then I forgot. In the office, I flipped through a folder of construction photos Linda kept. Me pouring the foundation spring of '99, 25 years younger, 50 pounds stronger. Me and the crew raising the frame. Linda in a hard hat with lemonade, belly just starting to show with Ashley. The money trail told the rest. Second mortgage, personal loan from my brother, Linda's part-time job at the district to cover materials. Beans and rice for months. Cars held together with prayer and duct tape. We built this place with sweat, sacrifice, and love. Now my own kid, the baby who toddled across this kitchen, wanted to flip it and stash me somewhere like a busted recliner. I thumbed Mark Sullivan's card. Ashley and Brandon thought they had a confused old man who'd say thank you and sign anywhere. They were about to meet a version of me they'd forgotten. I dialed. The rings sounded steady in my ear. Outside, a bright spring morning spread across Denver, the kind Linda loved, the kind that begs for new beginnings. Mark's office was on the second floor of a brick building on Colfax. No flash, just the kind of shop that helps regular folks solve real problems. I wore my best suit, charcoal, the one Linda picked for her own funeral, and showed up 15 minutes early, hand only a little shaky as I signed in. Mark was younger than I expected, maybe mid-50s, gray at the temples, calm eyes like he'd heard every family mess twice already. Law books, family photos, wife, 2 teens, a golden retriever. The normal life Linda and I built. "Mr. Carter? Good to see you again," he said, pouring coffee. "I remember you and Linda from a few years back. I'm sorry for your loss." "Thank you." My voice was steadier than I felt. "I need advice. It's delicate, about my daughter and son-in-law." "I'm listening." I told him the whole thing. The call, the overheard plan, the nursing home, the quick sale. Mark didn't flinch, just set his pin down once when I mentioned their Boulder dream house. "Unfortunately, this is more common than you'd think," he said. "Adult kids assume they know best, especially when a valuable asset is involved. But legally, they can't force anything, right? Let's be clear," he said. "The house title is in your name alone since Linda passed?" "That's right. Join it first, then to me. Then they have zero claim. They cannot sell it, cannot force you into care, cannot touch your assets without your explicit consent. The house is yours. Period." He slid a legal pad closer. "If you wanted to sell it yourself, you could list tomorrow." Relief hit first, then something sharper. "And if I did? With the market where it is, especially in your neighborhood, a quick cash sale is very possible," he said. "Before your daughter gets back from her trip, even." "How fast is fast? With the right buyer? A week. Maybe less." He leaned in. "But it's a serious move. Once you sell, you can't unring that bell." "I built that house board by board," I said. "I know exactly what I'm doing." We spent an hour on practicals, market estimates, cash buyers, paperwork. Mark said he could have everything ready in 24 hours if I meant it. "Consultation fees $200, he added as I stood. "If you go forward with me, I'll credit it to legal fees." I paid cash and walked out clearer than I'd felt in months. In the sunshine, my phone buzzed. Ashley calling. For the first time since I heard her cruelty, I smiled. I let it ring. I could picture her in some Phoenix hotel lobby checking her watch, wondering why the grateful old man wasn't leaping to answer. Let her wonder. By the time I turned into my driveway, Mark's words were welded in my mind. "It's your property, your decision." 25 years of second-guessing lifted like the morning fog. I was at the door when the phone rang again, Ashley's name lighting up the screen. I let it sit to the 6th ring, then picked up. "Dad, there you are," she chirped, a little too bright. "You had me worried." "Sorry, kiddo, I was out running errands." I kept my voice warm and easy. "How's Phoenix?" "Oh, you know how these things go. But listen, we have the most wonderful news." She paused, performing. Brandon and I planned something special for you. I tightened my grip on the phone. Oh, a little vacation, she said, syrupy sweet. You deserve a break after everything since Mom. It's like a resort, with medical staff on hand, just in case. A resort with medical staff. My jaw clenched so hard my teeth ached. That's very kind, sweetheart. You shouldn't have gone to all that trouble. Nonsense, your family. Brandon's voice floated in, speakerphone. All arranged. When I managed, knowing they wanted me out before they got back. Well, we return next Friday, Ashley said. We were hoping you'd be ready by then. Just pack essentials. Essentials. Not the albums Linda arranged with love, not the furniture I built. Just a suitcase to roll me out. Funny timing, I said pleasantly. I've got a surprise for you two, too. Oh, what kind of surprise? She asked, sounding genuinely pleased, no doubt imagining I'd signed something that made her life easy. I stood at Linda's bay window, looking at her garden, at the porch swing where we'd planned our future. It's something I've been working on since our last talk. You'll be very surprised. You're the sweetest, Dad, she said. We'll sort it all when we get home. Rest up, and we'll take care of the rest. Sweet. She called me sweet while she plotted to steal my life. I will. Love you. Love you, Dad. See you Friday. The line died. My hands were steadier than they'd been in weeks. I opened my laptop. Best real estate agents Denver. The results popped like ammo. I compared success rates and reviews the way I used to compare structural steel quotes. Cherry Hills, Highlands Ranch, University Hills, neighborhoods that moved numbers like Ashley and Brandon were already spinning in their heads. One name kept showing up, Jason Miller. 40-something, fast-turn specialist, average 18 days from listing to close. The photo showed a straightforward, confident guy. Reviews said things like sold in 6 days, cash buyer in 48 hours, smooth close. His direct number was right there. Time to stop being the manageable old man. Jason Miller, Miller Realty. How can I help? Mr. Miller, I'm Ray Carter. I want to sell my house quickly. How fast can this happen for real? Depends, he said. But with the right property and price, I've closed in 10 days with cash buyers. What's your timeline? 10 days. My heart thudded. That fast? Absolutely. Denver's hot, especially well-kept places in established areas. Tell me about the house. 2-story, about 3,400 square feet. Built in '99. Cherry Creek area. 3 beds, 2.5 baths. Maintained by someone who knows his way around a tool belt. He woke up at that. That's exactly what several of my investors want. Original owner, great condition, great neighborhood. Can I assess it today? How soon can I get over? I can do this afternoon. 3 o'clock? Perfect. Address? After I hung up, I cleaned like Linda would have insisted, dusting the bay window, straightening throw pillows, wiping every surface. It didn't feel like tidying for guests. It felt like prepping for an execution. At exactly 3, the doorbell rang. I smoothed my shirt, took a breath that smelled faintly of Linda's lavender sachets still tucked in the linen closet, and opened the door on whatever came next. Jason looked like his photo, professional but human, early 40s, that quiet confidence of a guy who's closed a lot of deals. He stepped into the entry and stopped. Wow, he said, eyes tracking the crown molding I'd cut and the hardwood floors Linda and I picked. Mr. Carter, this is exactly what I hoped. He took it in, the afternoon light pouring through Linda's bay window, the open flow I achieved by replacing a load-bearing wall with a hidden beam. The appreciation in his voice was real. You weren't kidding about maintenance, he said, tablet out, snapping photos. These hardwoods original? Installed them myself in 2001. 3/4-inch solid oak. Linda wanted something that would last. And this kitchen, he ran a fingertip along the granite edge. Custom. Every inch. Linda picked the stone. The gold veining reminded her of sunlight. My voice hitched. Took 3 weekends to get the cuts right. Jason photographed the cabinets, checked outlets, noted details. Mr. Carter, I rarely see homes kept like this. I'm an engineer, anyway. You build it right first, you only build it once. It shows, he said, moving toward the living room. May I? I walked him through built-ins by the fireplace, the open plan, Linda's touches that made a house into a home. This bay window, custom, he asked. For my wife. Reading nook, I said, seeing her there with tea and mystery novels. Jason pulled up comps. Similar places here have closed between $850,000 and $920,000. Given your condition and custom work, I'd price it $890,000. It'll move quick and still pull top dollar. $890. I repeated, easing down into Linda's chair. You're sitting on a gem, he said. I have an investment group that loves properties like this. They pay cash. No bank, no appraisal drama. 10 business days. Why so fast? I asked. Because cash removes the choke points, he said. They do their own inspection. Frankly, this home is tighter than half the new builds I see. I looked around the room where Ashley took her first steps, where holidays and quiet Sundays stacked up for decades. When would I need to be out? Standard is 30 days after closing, but they're flexible. I heard Ashley's voice in my head, calling me sweet while she planned my exile. I saw Brandon's cold arithmetic. I remembered Linda's warning. Let's do it. He grinned, just for a beat. Excellent. I'll call them now. He described my home like buried treasure. Cherry Creek, original owner, immaculate, custom features. When he hung up, he said, they want it. I'll bring contracts tomorrow morning. The sun slanted through the bay window and bathed everything golden. For the first time since that awful call, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Control. How's 9 a.m.? He asked. 9 is perfect. Jason arrived next day with contracts, a notary, and coffee. I read every line like I used to read blueprints. Price, $890,000. Cash, closing in 10 business days. Minimal contingencies, the notary said kindly. Title search, final walkthrough. And I can stay 30 days after closing? That's in writing, Mr. Carter, she said. I signed with a steady hand. The machine started moving. Days 1 to 3 were a blur, title search across decades, an inspection crew that admired my workmanship and found nothing to complain about. Whoever built this knew what he was doing, one of them said. I didn't bother correcting him. Days 4 to 6, I became a man with a mission. I researched apartments, landed on a senior-friendly place up in Highlands with a community center and golf nearby. Exactly the kind of spot Linda and I once daydreamed about. I phoned storage facilities and made lists. What to keep, what to let go. Linda's china, keep. Her jewelry box, keep. The photo albums, absolutely. The essentials of a life. Days 7 to 9 brought a confidence I hadn't felt in years. Mrs. Thompson from next door asked about all the official-looking visitors. Just some work, I said, hating the lie, knowing the truth would outrun me if I said it out loud. On day 8, Jason called. All set for tomorrow's closing, Mr. Carter. Inspectors were thrilled. Funds will wire the same day. That night, I packed a small suitcase, not because I had to move that minute, but because it felt right to be ready. I looked at Linda's photo and whispered, I hope you understand. Friday dawned bright and clean, the kind of spring morning Linda called Denver at its best. I wore my navy suit, the one Linda bought for Ashley's college graduation. The title office was all brisk smiles and paperwork. The buyer's attorney checked every line. Jason conducted the process like a maestro. If you'll sign here, an initial there. Each signature felt like snapping a chain. Deed transfer. Settlement statement. Acknowledgement that 1247 Maple Street no longer belonged to Ray Carter. And here's your wire confirmation, the closer said. $890,000, less closing costs, deposited to your account. I stared at the number. More money than I'd ever seen. More than Ashley and Brandon could imagine their burden controlling. We shook hands. Jason walked me to my truck. You did the right thing, he said. Sometimes a fresh start is the best kind of mercy. I drove through 25 years of landmarks. Ashley's elementary school, the park where Linda and I walked on Sundays. Instead of grief, I felt light. I pulled into my driveway and looked at a house that wasn't mine anymore. The keys felt heavy, but the contract gave me 30 days to exit. Ashley and Brandon were due back in 3. They'd be expecting to shepherd their manageable father somewhere with medical staff. Instead, they'd find a different lesson waiting. I sat in the truck until the engine ticked cool. Then I drove to Starbucks on Colfax and called a 24-hour locksmith. Expedited service? Sure. Another $200? Didn't matter now. AAA emergency locksmith, Eddie speaking. I need all exterior locks changed today. Urgent. I can be there in 2 hours, sir. Address? Back at the house, I watched Mrs. Thompson water her garden and waved. Eddie rolled up in a van stuffed with hardware. Security issue? He asked, eyeing the front door. New ownership. Better safe than sorry. He nodded and went to work, swapping out the brass Linda chose years ago for modern silver sets. These were nice locks, he said. Installed right. That was me, I said. I like doing things right. He handed me 3 copies each for the front, back, and garage. I paid cash, no paper trail with my name. Then came the hardest part, fitting 25 years into what I could carry. Linda's jewelry box went into the suitcase first, then our wedding photos, her half-finished novel, bookmark still stuck at 247. My engineering certificates, birth certificates, insurance papers, Linda's cookbook with notes in her handwriting. Most of the rest, I left. Furniture tells stories. The new owners would hear them, not me. While I packed, I called Sunset Manor Apartments. I need a furnished 1-bedroom right away, I told the property manager, Mrs. Chun. We have a unit available for immediate move-in, she said. Month to month is fine. I'll take it. Within hours, I'd signed, paid just under $3,000 for first month in deposit, and picked up keys to a small, clean apartment with neutral furniture and the faint smell of carpet cleaner. Exile, maybe, but exile I chose. Loading the car near dusk, I caught Mrs. Thompson watching. She waved. I waved back, feeling the sting of every tie I was cutting. Ties Ashley and Brandon had put a price on. I took one last slow lap through the empty rooms. The kitchen where Linda taught Ashley to bake Christmas cookies, the living room where we watched her tear into presents, the bedroom where Linda slipped away with my hand in hers. I'm sorry, honey, I said to the quiet. But you'd understand. You always said I give too much. I locked up with the new key and drove away from Maple Street with my whole life in the trunk. At Sunset Manor, I set Linda's photo on the nightstand first thing. Then I opened my laptop at the little table and researched banks that treat people like people. Colorado Community Bank caught my eye, smaller, big on discretion. Colorado Community Bank, private banking. This is Andrew Collins. Mr. Collins, name's Ray Carter. I need to open an account for a sizable deposit, about $890,000. A beat. We'd be honored, Mr. Carter. When can you come in? Monday at 9? Perfect. I'll be ready. The weekend stretched long. I'd never lived anywhere but the house Linda and I built. This place felt like a motel, but it was mine. Saturday, I made coffee in a kitchenette that didn't know me and unpacked methodically. Linda's jewelry box on the dresser. My engineering plaques on the shelf. Our wedding photo by the bed. Groceries for one. Simple stuff. The checker asked if I was new. Just moved in, I said. Starting fresh. Sunday I found a coffee shop 3 blocks over. Brews and Views. The barista's name was Megan, purple streaks in her hair and a steady smile. You're new, she said, not nosy, just observant. Retired engineer, I said, looking for quiet. You picked the right corner, she said, sliding me a strong cup. I sat by the window, watched dogs and strollers and Sunday walkers. It felt almost like hope. Monday I put on my suit and met Andrew Collins. Early 40s, professional and warm. He asked smart questions, nothing prying. We set up online banking, a debit card, checks. Given the amount, he said, I recommend our premium package for extra security. Do it, I said. I'll wire funds from my old bank. We'll initiate that today, he said. Should clear by Wednesday. 2 days later, he called. Mr. Carter, funds have cleared. Your account is fully active. I looked around my little place at Linda's photo and the bare-bones furniture and felt something I hadn't in 2 years, in control of my own life. That night, I opened my laptop and typed mini surveillance cameras. My fingers hovered. The last piece of this plan would capture everything I wanted to see. I found a tiny, wireless camera disguised as a phone charger, Wi-Fi, app control, motion activation, crisp video, 12-hour battery, live stream to my phone. $149 plus $40 rush shipping. 2 weeks earlier I'd have balked. Now I clicked buy. Then I wrote the note. Draft 1 was too angry. Draft 2 was too cold. Draft 3 hit the right chord. Firm, respectful, final. In my neat engineer's hand. Dear Ashley and Brandon, if you're reading this, my plan worked. I heard your conversation about a nursing home because I'm a burden. I heard you count what you'd make selling my house. The house has been sold for $890,000 cash. The money is in my new bank and staying there. I've moved somewhere I'm appreciated, not tolerated. Don't worry about me. Worry about where you're living. Your belongings are boxed and at Denver Moving and Storage on Colfax. You have 30 days to claim them before fees start. I gave you everything for 42 years. You repaid me by planning to warehouse me and steal my life's work. I hope the lesson was worth the cost. Love, Dad. Thursday morning FedEx, drop the camera. I tested it at my kitchen counter. Clean video, sharp audio, motion alerts pinging my phone. That afternoon, I drove to the old house one last time, slipped in through the garage with a remote they never knew I kept. The place smelled like home. Linda's lavender, a whisper of lemon oil, the ghost of dinners long gone. 2 suitcases by the stairs and a scatter of their mail on the counter told me they were staging the place like it was already theirs. I plugged the camera charger by the front door and angled it to capture the whole entry. The app showed me the frame. Perfect. I walked in and out a few times to test the motion alerts. Then I taped the envelope at eye level inside the door. Before I left, I laid a hand on the mantel where Linda's photo sat for 23 years. The next family would put their faces there and build their own life. It's done, I told Linda. Justice served. I locked up, checked the live feed from my car, and drove back to my apartment. The app sat open in my hand, watching an empty doorway with a timestamp, 6:30 p.m. Thursday. Tomorrow they'd come home expecting to start the next phase of their plan. They had no clue I'd already finished mine. Friday I woke like a man about to watch a verdict. Coffee tasted better. The apartment felt bigger. I kept one eye on the feed. 4:30 p.m. They'd be close. Ashley always left Phoenix around noon to dodge traffic. Brandon drives like a cruise control. 5:15 p.m. Motion alert. Brandon's black SUV nosed into the drive. My heart pounded. Ashley climbed out first, stretched. Brandon hauled suitcases. They walked up with the confidence of people unlocking a future that wasn't theirs. Ashley slid her key into the new lock. Nothing. Frowned, tried again. That's weird, she said. The camera mic caught it. My key won't work. I'll check the back, Brandon said, and vanished from frame. He returned a few minutes later, face tight. Back's locked. Garage remote's dead. He studied the lock like it had insulted his balance sheet. These are new. Someone changed them. What? That's impossible. Dad doesn't even know a locksmith. He got closer, realized what I already knew. They're brand new. Ashley pulled out her phone with shaky fingers and called my old landline, the one I disconnected 3 days ago. No answer. No voicemail. Try his cell, Brandon said. He doesn't have one, she snapped, voice cracking. We talked about getting him one. He checked Windows. That one's unlatched. I can boost you. The camera watched her scramble through the kitchen window in her business suit. Seconds later, the front door swung open. Brandon lugged the luggage inside. Both stopped when they saw the white envelope with their names in my careful script. Ashley tore it open. Their faces changed, confusion to shock to disbelief to horror. He sold the house? Ashley squeaked, almost a shriek. How could he do this to us? Brandon yanked the note and reread like the words might magically rearrange. That manipulative old man. He played us. $890,000. Ashley cried, mascara streaking. He kept it all. That money was supposed to be our future. Your future, Brandon shot back, mask slipping. This is your father. You should have handled him. My fault, she snapped. You're the one who said he's a burden. You pushed the nursing home. He was a burden. Look at us now. He waved around a living room that wasn't theirs anymore. We're homeless. Our lease ends next week. The irony tasted sweet. They were panicking in a room where they planned to end my independence. Call a lawyer, Ashley said, desperate. There has to be something. He can't sell without telling us. With what money? Brandon snarled. In case you forgot, I've been out 6 months, and your marketing salary barely covers the car payments. Then get another job. Where? You think firms line up to hire an advisor fired for questionable transactions? Ashley's face fell as the whole picture finally came into focus. No house, no inheritance, no nest egg, and Brandon less employable than he'd claimed. How could he be so cruel? She whispered. The way you were when you called him a burden, Brandon said. Old man outplayed us. They sagged into my old furniture. Furniture that would be gone tomorrow when the new owners walked in with their keys. Ashley buried her face in her hands. Brandon stared at my note like it might catch fire. I shut the feed. I'd seen enough. In my little kitchen, I opened a bottle of Linda's favorite Bordeaux, the one we saved for a special night that never came. I poured one glass and raised it toward her photo. To you, Lynn. Justice. It tasted like victory. My phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize, probably Ashley trying a back door. I deleted the text and powered the phone off. I stood at the window and looked out at a Denver sunset that painted everything gold. Somewhere across town, my daughter and her husband were learning what happens when you bite the hand that builds the house. For the first time since Linda died, I felt free. I wasn't anyone's burden. I was my own man again, with my own money, my own choices, and an open road ahead. Ray Carter had left the building. He wasn't coming back. If this story hit you, tap like, subscribe, and tell me what you felt in the comments. Want the next one? Click the box on the left. Thanks for listening.